a fascia or a sheath of tissue. Lamb has quite a bit of it. In fact, a bit more than almost any animal, and it's called fell when it's on lamb. And this I just want to remove as neatly as I can without getting into any of the underlying muscle, right? But I want to remove it kind of like a scroll, right? So I want to unwind it by cutting from the shank all the way up to more or less the top of the pelvis, right? So I've got some of the abdominal wall, the belly. I've got the pelvis. This is the pubic symphysis. It's the bone at the front of your pelvis. This is this tail, right? And there's a flat section of the pelvis that extends up in here, just like the top of your pelvis up there. Imagine you standing like that. Right? That's your pubic bone. Right? This is your spine. Right? This is your stomach. Right? Your abdominal wall, and that's where the poop comes out.
So would you ever cook with the fell on to keep the moist, like juiciness, or
No,
will it be
because
too
it
strong?
doesn't break down, and then when you try to carve it, it's like eating leather. So, anybody know what they used to make with? I actually mentioned it.
Didn't they use both now? They use like the animal intestines or the stuff for
They used
string for.
They certainly used tendon for lots of different things, but most importantly for lamb, they used this fell, that's what it's called, to make vellum. Right? Paper, right? So here, right? So I've peeled the fell off of the top surface like that, so it's going to completely unroll off of the surface of this side. Right? See it? Peeled it back. I want to remove this bit of the abdominal wall. It's called the flank, just so I can really see what I'm doing. And it's sort of connected mostly with thin muscle sections. And I'll probably just end up grinding it. So I just sort of took that off the surface. There's probably a little bit of it left here, but it's not terribly important that it come off perfectly.
You want to remove the fell off that?
Yeah, so I would probably just throw this sort of into the trimming pile and get rid of this stuff. Nice clean cube it so it goes through the grinder easily, and I'm done. Same with all the excess fat. So that's usable trim. So now I got a handle on this fell. There's a little kernel of fat, and if the tail is over off here, I want to go around the opposite side. So don't go around this side of the leg where the tail is pointing at you. I want you to go over off this side, opposite the tail. Right, and there's a big kernel of fat here, and I want you to get the fat sort of removed, and that's going to be like a handle, right? So I can grab that big kernel of fat, right? And then I want to use that to pull and peel off the fell from the surface of the leg. In some cases, this fell will be quite thin and lacy, and it's not that big of a deal. It's maybe a younger or smaller animal. In other cases, especially like this one, it's quite heavy, right? You can't even really see what's going on underneath the fell because it's so thick and heavy. It's also kind of waterlogged, so it's really opaque. So I'm pulling it up quite aggressively, right? Can you see that? And then cutting at the lacy sort of connection of that to the underlying muscles. Make sure that you work all the way along the length of the leg so it's coming off in one great big sheet like a scroll. What I don't want you to do, or I want you to be really cautious about, is the possibility of going into the lean muscles underneath or beginning to seam the muscles out that are underneath this. Be really careful. Don't do that. So use a bit of force to really pry it up and cut into the margin where it sticks on. I'm just using